Now, at one point, you completely left hip hop to focus on being a Muslim.
It took some time, most people don't know that my mother and father were converts to the religion of Islam. When I was 3 years old, my mother and father got murdered in front of me. And I got shot in the foot only at 3 years old. They got murdered by people from the Nation of Islam. And I grew up my whole life thinking the Nation of Islam and Muslims were the same thing, So I pretty much hated Muslims and Islam because my grandmother used to tell me the Muslims killed your parents, And it was a time in my life where I just got tired of living the life the way I was living my life, alcohol, drinking, and partying. And I wanted to do something different. And pretty much a long story short, I ran into an American Muslim who invited me to the mosque. And that's when I come to realize that the Nation of Islam and the religion of Islam is two different religions, The Nation of Islam, for example, is based on racism, you understand? And it is from corruption and it's pretty much calling to hatred. You understand? So when you read the religion of Islam, you don't see none of that stuff that they call into the religion of Islam. The same way you don't see half of the things that these people are doing on television, doing around the world in the name of Islam. You can't find this in the religion of Islam that give these people the authority to do these evil things,
So your parents were murdered in front of you by the Nation of Islam, and you were shot in the foot in the process. What was the story behind that?
Well, the story behind it, my father was at a young age, he was a diamond dealer, believe it or not. And he was very successful. He had money, he had homes for my grandparents. He was only 27 years old. One of the guys that murdered him was my so-called godfather. He used to refer to my grandmother as his own mother. So it was over money. After they murdered my parents, they decided to steal them and rob money from them. So it was over greed, unfortunately.
Okay, so it didn't really have anything to do with the Nation of Islam. This was just two people that happened to be associated with the
exactly, yes.
With the Nation
but as growing up, I always heard that Muslims killed your parents, and I knew that these people was affiliated with the Nation of Islam. So for me, as a kid, only 3 years old, hearing this all his life, you automatically put the Nation of Islam and murder together. That was my scenario,
Yeah, well, and then you bring in the murder of Malcolm X, which happened, I guess, by someone who was affiliated with the Nation of Islam also, and you start putting these stories together and you come to various conclusions. But, but in retrospect, this was not like sanctioned by Louis Farrakhan or anything else like that.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, I will make that clear. It wasn't sanctioned by no rulers. No leaders of the Nation of Islam. It didn't happen that way, for sure.
But were the people who killed your parents, were they ultimately convicted and tried?
Yeah, they locked up for life, Majority, I think one of them, the main guys, locked up for life. Some of them came home, believe it or not. I think about 2 of them is home, but, they got what they deserved,
How many people were actually involved?
It was a good about 4 or 5 of them, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm definitely sorry for your loss.
Thank you, man. It was one of them things. It happened at a young age. My grandparents, they stepped up, played a good part of raising me and my brothers. And I take everything. Everything happened for a reason.
Right. And now you're actually completely devoted into the Muslim faith yourself.
Yes. I'm trying to be.
Okay. And you actually moved to Saudi Arabia?
Yes, I moved to Saudi Arabia 5 years ago. I go between Saudi Arabia and Dubai, back to Los Angeles, of course. But I've been here for 5 years now.
So are you actually a Saudi citizen now?
No, I'm not a Saudi citizen. I'm not giving up my American citizenship.
Okay. I was going to say, that's pretty valuable.
Yeah, Saudi kicked me out. I got to go back to America. But I'm not a citizen. I'm just a resident here.
Okay. And what, you got married in Saudi Arabia and everything?
I got married in America, in Los Angeles, and then I moved with my wife and my kids here. So it was one of them things that, for me, honestly, I've always been open-minded. I love traveling. I love different cultures. And after accepting the religion of Islam, I wanted to learn more about Islam. I wanted to study Arabic. So what better place than to live in an Arab country,
Well, I haven't been to Saudi Arabia, but I have been to Bahrain, which is right next door. I've been to Jordan. I've been to Israel. Wow. I've been to Egypt.
Wow.
So I've been all around.
There, man.
Yeah, I've been all around the Middle East, and I can tell you that the Middle East is very different from America, especially Los Angeles. So how do you convince your American wife that you're now going to be living in the Middle East? What was that conversation like?
Well, my wife is actually Arab. You know what I mean? Believe it or not, my wife, she's Arab, originally from Yemen.
Okay.
And she had family here. Her mother's in Saudi Arabia. Half of her families are actually Emirati citizens over in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. So for her, it's like coming back home. You'll be surprised how many people, I'm talking about friends from Compton, from South Central, from New Jersey, actually live here in Saudi Arabia.
Really?
I have many friends. I even got some Mexican homies from East LA that have been living in Saudi Arabia for the last 15 years. You'll be surprised. And not only that, you'll be surprised how many non-Muslims, Westerners living in Saudi Arabia, and no one is bothering them. You know, they live in here peacefully. No one is messing with them. So you'll be surprised what the media show you and what it's actually like living in the Middle East. And I'm sure you've seen that as you traveled here. You know, BG Knockout was here with us recently.
Ah, dope. Very dope. So how do you feel as a Muslim, the way Muslims are perceived around the world? You know, when you bring in the Paris attacks and the 9/11 bombings and some of the things that Trump has said about Muslims, about how Muslims need to be registered and tracked and everything else like that.
Of course, I think it's a sad thing and out of ignorance. But the first thing that I like to address is that the Muslims who are doing these things, or the so-called Muslims who are doing these things in the name of Islam, they are in the wrong 100%. And I think if most Americans or most people around the world can realize that even Muslims don't agree with what these people do. There's nothing in the religion of Islam that tell you to kill innocent non-Muslims. There's nothing in the religion of Islam that tell you to kill non-Muslim Jews or Christians or anything. My whole family are Christian, you understand? Islam teach me that when I deal with my family, I deal with them in a very respectful manner. I treat people the way they treat me, no matter what their religion is. So these people that's doing these things in the religion of Islam are evil people. And believe it or not, they spilled the blood of more Muslims than anyone else. And when you hear people, and that behavior will breed people such as Donald Trump, you understand? Because now Donald Trump has something that he can point at. So when you look at this situation, these so-called Muslims, they claim that they're doing this for Islam, but they didn't help Islam in one single format. You know, they brought more harm to Muslims. They have Muslim females getting attacked. They got people like Donald Trump saying this, all because of the evil actions of these few individuals.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Like, I have Muslim friends. I have a lot of respect for the Muslim religion. And I think it's sad when a few individuals cause an entire large group of billions of people to somehow be looked at in such a negative sense because of just a certain individuals. Because I know that as a community, these views aren't shared.
Of course. I'm glad you know that, and I appreciate that. And that's why I'm glad you give me the chance for this interview to even touch up on that, because I think more Muslims, whenever we have a chance, we should relay this message, you understand? To show that we against these individuals. I
agree. Napoleon, appreciate, you calling in.
I appreciate you, bro. Appreciate that.
I know Jaden a little bit. You know, we run into each other in Calabasas.
That's cute. He can date all the white girls.
He was wearing a dress last time.
Last time
I seen him. Yeah, he was wearing a dress last time I seen him.
Okay. Does he come down to Crenshaw with one on?
I don't think he goes to Crenshaw, period.
I don't think. He might slip down there, but he ain't got no goddamn skirt on when he comes down there. I bet you that.
Speak up for the black community on the main stage, because she don't got to do that. Beyonce's rich. Beyonce's not black or white. She's Beyonce. All right? She's not man or woman. She's Beyonce. She's reached that level like Oprah. Like Oprah's just an entity. That's what Beyonce is. So Beyonce don't have to speak up for us.